Hey everyone, welcome back to the homestead. Today it is October and it's cold. So it's the 16th of October. We just celebrated Thanksgiving weekend here in Canada and the weather has really cooled off. Now, my garden is still not done. We are almost a full month past our anticipated first frost and we've still not yet had a frost. And while I'm really thankful we've not had a frost yet, I was not prepared mentally or organizationally for the garden to continue this late. It's still producing. I have huge amounts of green tomatoes behind me, but today I'm going to do a big harvest and I might cut off some of the plants. Some of them are completely done producing and the nighttime lows have been below 5 degrees Celsius. And those nighttime lows are not ideal for growing warm or heat-loving crops like peppers and tomatoes and tomatillos, which is mostly what I have left in the garden. These things, while the plants are still alive, they're not thriving. The fruit's not coming to maturity any faster at this point, and it may not continue to grow at all. So I'm going to go through and I really need to think about what am I saving today, what am I sacrificing, and what am I going to continue to limp along? I know I have some heatless habanero peppers that I'm going to continue to limp along and baby along because those seeds were outrageously expensive in my opinion and I want to save seeds. So I'm going to desperately try to get those seeds to be fully ripened fruits on the plant so that I can save those. So we will see what we get. I've got my harvest baskets with me and I've got some boxes behind me as well. Let's get started in our first 20 by 20 garden and see what we get. So I find it really cute that these plants think that they're still gonna set some more fruit. There's flowers that haven't opened yet, but there's no more fruit on this plant, so I'm gonna snip it. I've got some Hungarian hot wax peppers that are ready, and I'm going to take these in and make pickled hot peppers. But I need to indicate to myself that I'm not saving this plant anymore, so I'm actually just going to snip it off. I'm leaving the roots intact in the ground, and I'll come back through and clean this up later. Same with this plant. There's no more peppers left on it. Whatever they think they're going to do with these fruit, it's not going to happen. There's no way. So, also done. These ones, I'm going to harvest the ripe fruit. There's a fruit on here that is not yet ready, so I'm going to leave this plant. So that plant is staying. This one no longer has any fruit on it. We're going to cut it. This one is a hot pepper. The peppers are still there. They're not ready yet. And we're going to leave it. My first colored cayenne of 2024. So this, I always debate if it's going to happen or not. My cayennes say that they're about 100 days to maturity. And because our season was a bit longer with a late frost, we got a cayenne. These plants, I'm going to continue to limp along. So I got some green cayennes in here too. You can still use them. They're not fully ripened, but they should ripen on the counter. So we'll take them in too. Tomatoes. Anytime I have green tomatoes is probably the time I struggle most in the garden. I love tomatoes, I love tomato products, I enjoy preserving them, I find I get a really good value from them, and I hate ending the plant. But this plant beside me has been topped, meaning I cut the top off and indicated to the plant that it was done for the season. It has one little itty bitty fruit that was left on it, and that's not coming to maturity. So this plant is going to get cut, and I'm going to signal to myself that it's okay to start the cleanup for that one. because I need to do this. Got my big Felco pruners out for this job today. So I've cut this. It's still trellised, and that's fine. This is just indicating to me and any helpers that I get in the garden that it's okay to go ahead and clean up that plant. The plant beside it has some fruit, but so this plant fell over in some of the wind we had. We had about 90-kilometer-an-hour winds this weekend, and they weren't really well forecasted, so we found out less than 24 hours in advance that that was going to happen, and I was already preparing for Thanksgiving. So I did not come out here to do anything about the tomatoes, knowing that it was so close to the end of the tomato season. So a whole lot of this plant is done. I was leaving this fruit on the vine to see if it would come to ripeness, but it's actually split off the plant here. So this ginormous Paul Robson can come inside and ripen on the counter. And that means that this plant is also done. This one doesn't have any fruit left on it. Done. Some amaranth. I'm going to put this in a chicken pile and give that to them. They'll eat some of the grains. I know this can be a human crop, but I don't know. Like, this is just a weed in the garden. I don't know much about it. The chickens will enjoy it. Plant I was just working on is still really healthy. It's got some like globe size, not quite baseball size fruits, but there is a chance that if we have another 2 weeks that those fruits could come to full size. So I'm actually going to take the risk and leave those on the plant. I'll take you guys down for a closer look. So this is that plant. You see it has some fruit here and some fruit on the back side also. Yeah, I think these fruits could come to fruition. This is a Paul Robson. It's pretty blighty and not very healthy. I'm going to prune some of this since we're not anticipating any rain. Clean it up a bit. I already took off a few of the larger branches that we're no longer producing, and I'm okay to take a risk. It's right by the cayennes that I'm already going to be trying to protect from the frost. So let's take that risk and see what we get. All right, so I got my snips. I'm just going to prune off some of this really dead stuff here. It's not doing anything for the plant anymore. Should have come off a few months ago, but this is how gardening works sometimes. All right, I'm also topping this plant. This side shoot has set more flowers somehow. They're not going to do anything. That's coming off. And these flowers are also coming off over here, and these ones over here. I'm going to leave on as many healthy leaves as I can, but I want this plant to focus on finishing out these fruits. So this is the main stalk of its buddy next door. Ooh! Can you see? Here. So this is his buddy next door. This main stalk is fully done, and it's coming off, but I'm going to trellis the one beside it. So this was the sucker that grew, and it set fruit. So Let's see what we can do for that. This is ridiculous in October, but this is how much I like my tomatoes. Because I'm not going to go in and process these at this size. They're not going to be very nice. They're going to be a weird texture because Paul Robson's get so much bigger. So let's take the risk and see if we can get them to mature on the plant. And this plant next to it is done, so that's coming out. Sometimes the plants make the decisions easy for you. This row here beside me is some of my Moonglow tomatoes. And they are pretty much 2 size, so we're bringing this, you can't see. So these are pretty much 2 size. I'm bringing these in to ripen inside. They're blushing on the top. And these plants are coming out also. And we'll cut them and just come back for them later. I have a really small little guy in here. It's too bad he didn't really do much. Right. This one's got a whole bunch of immature fruit on it that we might leave. Alright, so whole bunch of traffic today, but I'm just trimming off some of the blighty stuff. I did top this tomato also and re-trellised it. There's a whole bunch of little fruits on here, and because these ones don't get too big, I'm going to leave them and see what happens. Still some healthy foliage on there. We'll see. And I'm just going to continue this for the rest of the garden. If I find anything interesting, I'll let you see. Here's a good angle to show you just how many tomatoes I have on these plants. These are our cosmonauts, and I would have expected them to be done months ago, and they're still just producing like crazy. So I've topped these plants, they've set suckers, and they just keep trying. So for now, I'm going to top them again, and anything that looks sizable, I'm going to take inside. This branch is really bent, so I'm going to take this one too. Just kind of clean up some of the dead stuff. Give me a better idea what's going on out here. Oh, that's the other plant. Beside it really wants to produce a whole lot more too. Got a pretty damaged fruit, so I'm going to take that in. I don't expect that will be edible. Hey Chili, what are you into? Don't eat Dad's expensive sticks. They're for the smoker. You're going to take one anyway, aren't ya? Yeah. Honestly, that dog, if you let her get bored, she'll just make her own fun. At least she finds appropriate fun most of the time. This row was the last row that I planted in this 20 by 20 garden. I realized fully when I planted these plants that they may not come to maturity. However, I've still got a lot of peppers that have set fruit, and I've got some that are turning color, so we're going to bring those inside today. And I certainly have a whole lot of Paul Robson tomatoes still left on the plants. The plants look a lot more healthy than some of the others in the garden, so I'm going to give them a quick prune. Anything that has fruit on it that's not yet to size will stay in the garden like the others, and I expect they'll be just fine. They have been topped repeatedly, and they are still setting side shoots. These plants just want to grow, and I don't blame them. It was plenty warm up until about a week and a half ago, and even then it's been in the 10 to 15 degree plus category during the day. And nighttime lows have been around 8 degrees Celsius, so certainly within plant growing temperatures, but this gardener is quite the frost tender flower, so I'm not really in my comfy zone anymore. Certainly not on these days when it's only about 10 degrees during the day. Might be 15 today. I've got some layers on, but let's get some more work done. So I've got some of the King of the North peppers here. This one's still really small, but I saw some of its buddies down the row are ready. So my King of the North with its color. And a few other things in the basket. Just gonna add them to our box here and keep going. I finished in this row for the 20 by 20 bed on this day, and I did get a whole lot harvested, so I was happy that I got that in out of the garden and the cleanup process had started. I've got a whole lot more content coming your way about fall cleanup and how we're going to preserve our remaining harvest. So make sure you subscribe and follow along, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.